Seconds Out, Ayman Khan here with established writer Colin Hart. Colin, sir, how are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you.
Pleasure to see you again, pleasure to speak to you again. Anthony Joshua versus Jermaine Franklin, the press conference is upon us. There was a lot of talk, a lot of back and forth about who the potential opponent would be for Anthony Joshua. They've settled on Jermaine Franklin. Do you feel this is the correct choice?
It's certainly a correct choice as far as Joshua is concerned. I mean, let's be honest about it. He should have no trouble beating Franklin, who really is a journeyman. But it's a vital fight for Joshua. He's got to come back after that terrible performance at the end of the Usyk fight. He's got to get over that. He's got to get over the mental problems he had that night when he flipped. And also, he's got to get back to winning ways. So it's vitally important that he not only wins, but he looks good doing it.
Do you see any potential for this to be a trickier fight for Joshua than expected? We saw Franklin gave White a run for his money. White got the decision there, but do you feel Franklin will pose enough of a challenge here for Joshua, or do you feel that Joshua will blow through Franklin?
Well, we hope so, because I know it is supposed to be an easy comeback for Joshua, but really and truly, there's nothing easy in the heavyweight division, because, as you know, one punch can change everything. But I mean, on paper, he should have no trouble beating Franklin. Now, he went the distance with White when most people thought White was going to knock him out. So obviously, he knows what the business is all about. He knows how to defend himself. He probably takes a good shot as well. But I think Joshua has not just got to win a, shall we say, mediocre points victory. He's got to knock this guy out.
What do you see? Let's say Joshua does get through this fight with Franklin. What fights do you see in his trajectory? There's the feeling that Dillian White might be the fight next for him.
Well, people were hoping that Dillian White was going to be in the ring with Joshua in Joshua's comeback fight, and that didn't happen. So you can't prejudge anything. I mean, after Franklin, I think he's got to fight somebody who is pretty high up in the rankings if he's ever going to get the chance of fighting again for the world title.
Do you feel he'll get that point this year? Do you think he'll maybe fight Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury like the promoter says he might do?
Well, I mean, everybody wants to see Joshua and Tyson Fury, despite the fact that Joshua's lost his last two fights. Now, Fury's going to fight Usyk, hopefully in the spring, and if he comes through that, then there's every chance that there could be a Fury-Joshua fight before the end of this year. But I wouldn't put money on it.
Joshua settled now with Derek James as his new coach. Derek James, very well known for having the likes of Charlo, Errol Spence Jr. in his camp. Do you feel Derek is the right choice, and what will he bring out of Anthony Joshua coming into this fight with Franklin?
Well, I mean, I don't know too much about him, but if he trained those two guys, Spence and Charlo, he obviously is a very good trainer. He's got a reputation of being a very good trainer. What he's got to do with Joshua is to get his aggression back. I mean, after all, he was a world heavyweight champion, and heavyweights are supposed to be aggressive, and he's got to instill that back into Joshua's makeup, certainly for Franklin.
Colin, how many fighters, you've been around boxing longer than I have, how many fighters have you seen that have maybe lost their aggression and then gained it back? How hard is it to do that?
Well, it's a mental thing, isn't it? And it's not difficult. If you've got mentally, you're not right before a fight, it's very difficult to get it back. I mean, you know, I've leveled the accusation that Joshua is really, these days, gun-shy after the Ruiz fight, and that is a big problem if you can't get that out of your head, of being scared of getting hit. Everybody gets hit if you're in a fight, but if it affects you mentally, then you're in trouble.
Colin, moving on to DAZN, have recently announced a price hike. It's now £19.99 a month for the DAZN package. In the current climate, what do you make of that price hike?
Well, you know, if I was paying $9.99 and suddenly I was told I'm going to have to pay $19.99, I'm not going to be very happy. So I would think people will have to work out in this day and age when there's all sorts of financial problems whether it's going to be worth renewing their subscription. I mean, I can't prejudge. If you've got a good enough fight, people will buy it.
Is the schedule that Matchroom have announced, is it strong enough to justify that price tag that has been put out there now, do you feel?
As I say, it depends what you're selling. If you're selling a nondescript fight, it's going to be very difficult at $19.99. But if you've got a world championship, it means something, then people will buy it.
Colin, I'm hearing whispers that are gathering stronger and stronger that maybe Manny Pacquiao might be in the ring with Conor Benn. Have you heard that?
I've heard it, and I hope it's not true. I mean, Manny Pacquiao is in his 40s. I mean, why he should still be even thinking about fighting again, goodness only knows. It can only mean one thing. He's desperate for money. He's made fortunes, but he's given most of it away, I think. And by the sound of it, he may have given it all away.
There was talk of there being an announcement by the WBC in terms of the report about Conor Benn and that independent look by the WBC into his case. A statement hasn't been given. Do you know anything about whether a statement will be given soon?
Well, we've talked about the Benn drug problem before, and they're still investigating. And the WBC apparently have said they can still fight until the result of the investigation is over. I find that strange. I think until the investigation's over, he shouldn't fight again.
Well, a couple of things for me finally. Brook, a recent video showed him not in the greatest of states. I wonder if you saw that video and what did you make of the video?
I haven't seen a video, but I read about it. If it's true, it's a great shame. Brook was an athlete, a very good athlete. He was a former world champion, and it would be very sad if, as it is alleged, he is sniffing, snorting, or whatever you want to call it, cocaine.
The other thing I want to talk to you about to close out is Katie Taylor. They're looking to maybe make Croke Park. Doesn't seem like it might be viable now, but a small arena in Ireland hosting around like 8,000 capacity might be on the cards for Katie. A shame if she doesn't get Croke Park, do you feel?
Well, I mean, the Irish will think, I mean, she is a goddess in Ireland, and I'm sure if she was to fight in one of their big outdoor rugby or football arenas, she would get a huge crowd. So, I mean, as far as the Irish are concerned, it'll be very disappointing if she fought for the first time in Ireland in a small arena.
Colin, pleasure speaking to you once again. Thank you for speaking to Seconds Out, sir. Much appreciated.